back to Drunk in the Library, where we talk about the strange, the unusual, and the downright stupid things that you never thought that you needed to know about. I am Brooke. That is Kaila. We are once again recording remotely because of coronavirus. So apologies for any weird technical difficulties, which I don't think that we've had thus far, but just in case. Alrighty.
What you drinking today, Brookie?
I have changed it up just a titch. So we got seltzer with some tequila in it. And instead of my usual blueberry lavender syrup, I have a hibiscus passion fruit syrup in there.
Can't wait to try that one when we're reunited.
It's good. It's not as delicious as I wanted it to be. I've been testing out all the ones that I ordered online. And some of them are good, some not so much. The margarita one, highly disappointing. Almost nauseating, to be honest with you.
Man, I love margs.
I know, but I think that we can make better ones like ourselves than using some kind of pre-mixed fucking syrup. It was pretty gross. I tried it for dinner last night with like my food, and it was not good. But what are you drinking?
I am still drinking the Angry Orchards, cracking another.
That was a good crack.
Very crisp.
That was very crisp. Those people who like ASMR food things are really gonna love that. So
I'm glad I could satisfy
given the viewers what they want. I don't know what they're viewing. It's more like listeners, but you know.
Fair.
Yeah, if they want to watch that shit on Instagram, there's tons of videos, and I know because I watch them. So
that's fair.
All right, I think you're starting us off this week.
I am. First topic in medieval May. Today we are talking about some medieval weaponry. My first one, each of us are going to have two, just because we didn't think we could do like an entire long episode out of like one weapon apiece. So you get some bonus time with us today. My first topic is quicklime.
Oh.
Do you know anything about quicklime?
If I'm right, isn't it used to like, well, can't you use it to like destroy bodies?
Close. So quicklime is a caustic powder. So it has like a chemical composition that it burns skin essentially.
Okay.
So back in the medieval times, it was like dropped on siege towers. Like attackers would get dropped on them basically. It is calcium oxide is like the chemical composition.
Okay.
It's a solid at room temperature, so they used to like grind it up into a powder. And so it would do like the most damage. With contact with water, such as our saliva, it causes intense irritation.
Okay.
It can lead to coughing, sneezing, and labored breathing. And then if it's not treated, it will cause burns inside your nose, severe abdominal pain, vomiting, and nausea. So basically they would like fill probably like pottery with this powder and then drop it over walls onto attackers.
Oh.
The attackers would inhale it, and it would just cause like severe discomfort essentially until later when that would cause them to be really sick. In naval battles, quicklime was dropped into the water because upon contact with water, the temperature rises super high and it's able to ignite combustible materials.
So is it like the wildfire of medieval?
Yes, when I was looking this up, I was like, this is wildfire.
Okay, that's what I thought. I was like, this is sounding more and more like a Game of Thrones kind of thing. Like, is this like wildfire?
This was probably the inspiration of wildfire for George R. R. Martin.
Cool.
So they actually think that this wasn't like strictly during the medieval times. They think that this has probably been used as a weapon for like centuries. They think, have you ever heard of Greek fire?
Very briefly, but I don't know anything about it.
So it is essentially wildfire. Like it was this like super mysterious fire that the Greeks would use as weapons, but the like the ingredients have since been lost. Like we don't know how to make it anymore.
Okay.
Scientists think that quicklime was probably one of the ingredients.
Oh, I mean, I guess it makes sense if that's what they're using it for. So cool.
Yeah. So they used to put it on bodies as well because they thought that it slowed down decomposition time. But the truth is that it actually does the exact opposite. It helps to preserve bodies, but it does help get rid of the smell of decomposition.
Oh, but why did they want to preserve them if like what was the point of preserving a body then? Like if you like purposely tried to kill somebody, why would you want to preserve their body?
I don't know. I don't think it's so much in like murders. I think it was probably more for like burial situations.
Okay, so it was like embalming before embalming was a thing.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, because they thought that it helped accelerate the decomposition, probably just because it hid the smell really well, but it actually helps to preserve them.
Gotcha.
So I guess in that case, maybe murderers were using it thinking that it would
like destroy the body quicker, but like
yeah, but actually it preserved it, just hid the smell.
Well, they fucked up.
Yeah, I guess so. It was also, I found really interesting, it used to be used in theaters, not in the medieval times. Like this is going back to like the 1910s, 1920s. Because when it is heated to 4,350 degrees Fahrenheit, it like emits a glow. So they used to use this to light theaters during productions, which is how we got the term limelight.
Oh, that's cool. I never even thought about that. See, when I thought of limelight, I was thinking like limes. And I was like, that's stupid. Why are they naming it after a fucking lime?
No, this is like quicklime still has like a bunch of uses today. It's like sometimes mixed with concrete. It's used in mining, and it's part of like it. I don't know if it was derivative of but it's got to do with like limestone essentially.
Okay, might be a derivative of it.
Yeah,
because I guess that's cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Cool.
That's pretty much all I have on the quicklime.
Interesting.
All right, Brookie, what do you got for me?
All right, so I picked, which I would like to give a disclaimer, because mine can get pretty graphic. So what I picked was the iron chair.
Okay.
Which I got my sources. My sources were from Wikipedia, as usual, and weirdhistorian.com. So the iron chair is called different things depending on the like where it was originating from. A lot of different places had their own version of it.
Okay.
China had something called the Chinese torture chair, but this was mostly used in like Europe during like the Middle Ages. So basically what it was an iron chair, naturally.
Sure.
But it consisted of between 500 and 1,500 spikes all over it. Just coated in spiky spikes.
Just like hella spiky.
Hella spiky chair. Like a porcupine chair.
I see it. I don't want it.
You don't. And you're going to not want it even more the more that I tell you about it. So you have this iron chair. Now, they will seat you in this thing. I don't know how. I don't know. Like, you could not get my ass into this thing. I will fucking chew your fucking face off before that happens. But they'll strap you down. So they have arm straps. They have a strap that goes across your chest. They have straps to keep your feet in place. And then there's a bar that lays like on your lap, basically, to hold your like thighs down for the most part. So the interesting thing about this chair, other than everything, is that they could also heat it. So there was like a hole in the bottom so that they can put coals underneath and light a fire and heat the fucking chair up while you were sitting in it.
No thanks. No, thank you. I wish you guys could see my face right now.
I know. It's that typical, like, nah.
Bruh. What?
That's a whole lot of nope for me.
No.
So yeah, that was
How do they heat it?
fire. They would put coal, like there was a hole. Like not all of them had like a hole underneath it.
Okay.
But a lot of them did. They all like from I read two different sources. So one of them said that they all had spikes on it. The other one said that like some of them did, some of them didn't.
Okay.
But I think like most of them had the spikes, but not all of them could like not all of them were used in conjunction with like being heated up.
Okay. So it was probably like for the most part one or the other, unless they really hated you.
Oh no, they would use both. Like if it had the capability to have both, they used both.
That's too scary.
Yeah. So a lot of times they thought that it wasn't really necessarily being used all the time. It was more or less used to scare people. So like they would use it, but then they'd make like somebody else who they were trying to get like a confession out of or information out of watch the other person like having this done to them and would basically scare that thing out of them.
That honestly, like that's a pretty solid torture method.
Yeah, like if you don't comply, this is what's going to happen to you.
Yeah, like you could hurt me all you want and you won't get your answers, but if you hurt my loved ones, you'll get answers.
Yeah, well, I mean, like if you tell me that that's what you're going to do to get information out of me, you're going to get all the information that you could ever want and more.
Right.
Like I'm not going to be tortured. It's not going to happen. So, yeah, so they would make people like criminals watch this being done to other criminals. And it happened like this wasn't like a quick thing. Like it was very slow, it was very painful. You did not like most of the time people didn't die from this. What they died from was the infection that was caused because of it.
Right.
And the awful thing about it is if you were in this chair, you weren't going to like bleed out to death. You weren't like it was going to be painful, but you weren't going to die because the little spikes were plugging up the holes in your body. So you weren't going to bleed out. So until you were off that chair, like you were pretty okay. And then you also have to think too, like if that was like being heated up, it was just like cauterizing your wounds. So like it hurt like a bitch. But
that's a true nightmare.
Yeah. But
that's awful.
But you weren't dying from it until like they were releasing you, and by that point, like, you know, you probably wanted to die. So
oh my God.
Yeah, as I said, like they used it to try to get like confessions out of people. If that wasn't enough by watching somebody like have that happen to them, then obviously you would get the chair next. So it was just like it was made just enough that like it didn't, as I said, you didn't bleed out from it. It didn't even puncture any vital organs. It just fucking hurt. So that one of the things that I found was there was a description from a 1891 newspaper, and it said the victim was seated and sustained by the front bar of the chair, then by another vertical bar, while two rings fastened the ankles below. In the upper portion, there was a collar for the neck, and then another transverse bar passing through the first, and fitted at each extremity with a ring holding the wrists. Underneath the seat was a stove.
Cool, I hate it.
It was awful.
That's terrible.
Yeah. So that's kind of all I have on that, but it was like, you know what the most terrifying thing I found in here was too? Was that it was used until the late 1800s in Europe. Like it was used past the fucking medieval Middle Ages. Like they were still using this in the late 1800s.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, like
that's not even that long ago.
No, it's not. Like that's fucking horrifying.
That's terrible.
Like I think about that in terms of like my I guess like my great grandparents, but like my grandparents like on my dad's side who I never met, like I mean as we all know my dad was like fucking old as hell, but like my grandparents on his side were definitely born in the 1800s.
I was gonna say, yeah, you like I feel like you've told me that they were born in like the 1890s, 1880s.
Yeah. So like this shit was going on, and they were from Germany. So like this shit was going on while they were alive, while they were born.
Wow.
So my great grandparents on my dad's side fucking knew about this shit.
Yeah.
That's
That's
terrifying.
That's crazy.
Like, you have to, like, I can't wait until we release pictures of this thing because it is, like, it makes you cringe thinking that, like, you'd have to sit on that. Like, it's awful.
Terrifying.
Yeah.
That's awful. All right. I forgot to just mention real fast for my first topic, my sources were history.com and Wikipedia.
Mm-hmm.
So for my second one, I mean, we all know about Leonardo da Vinci.
Yes.
Right? Do you know that he was a pretty solid inventor as well as like a painter?
At that time probably had multiple skills because what else are you doing?
That's fair. So this comes from a multitude of sources. I have Leonardo da Vinci's inventions.com, leonardodavinci.stanford.edu, and Wikipedia. So we're going to talk about Leonardo da Vinci's tank.
What?
So he designed this. The first evidence of it is 1487. And Brooke, when I tell you this thing looks like a UFO, it looks like a UFO. It's basically like this triangle with a bunch of wheels that come out the side of it. And it's got like this like lookout circle, I guess, towards the top. And it's kind of shaped like a cone.
Okay.
So like the bottom is really wide and then it goes up to a point at the top. And it was designed to be driven straight onto a battlefield and just like straight up decimate and ruin everybody's day on the opposing side, because this thing had cannons that shot in 360 degrees.
What the fuck was Leonardo da Vinci doing?
What he was just out there designing tanks, man.
I don't understand. Like, was he sitting in his house one day just like painting, and then he was like, you know what? I have a great idea, and I'm gonna do it.
He had like a bunch of other inventions too. This one he was like under. This was, I think, when he was like still essentially like an apprentice or a mentor. Like this was under. He was like working with somebody else when he designed this tank. So the outer shell, Leonardo da Vinci gets a lot of his inspiration from nature. Okay. So the outer shell of this was kind of like built to replicate a turtle shell. So it's like super protective. It's like this, I think it was supposed to be made out of steel, just like this enclosure. And inside it was worked by like 8 men using hand cranks for the wheels. And the wheels would propel it forward, and then there were tanks or cannons around the perimeter that could shoot in 360 degrees to be manned by any one of these 8 men. Basically, this was sent into the middle of a battle to just fuck everybody's day up, man. It would just ruin everybody's day. And then the army would follow behind them.
But what did he feel like he needed protection from? Like, there's
the other side
out there, man. Like,
we're in a war.
Why are you getting involved? Nobody asked you.
The technology he employed in this wasn't seen again from 1487 until World War I.
That's insane.
It went 500 years without anybody being able to replicate the technology that he would use in this.
Holy shit.
However, the technology didn't exist at this time, and it was never actually used in a single battle.
Wow. What the fuck, man? God damn it, Leonardo da Vinci.
I know, yeah. So he, like, invented this insane tank, and then, like, he handed the blueprints to somebody, and they were like, bro, we can't make this. And then nobody ever did. Nobody ever made it because the technology just didn't exist.
But he was like, no, it does. In my mind.
It's a great idea, guys. You should try.
No. Trust me. It's going to be a game changer.
It was just straight up impossible to make at the time. But if it had been made, it would have ruined everyone. Could you imagine? You're looking at a medieval battle. They're like they barely have gunpowder, and they just send this tank out into the field.
They're sitting there and they're like, Sir Jim, what is that?
It's just like 8 dudes on the inside cranking these like controls.
Your Majesty, I'm a little concerned about what I'm seeing.
He's like, it's fine. It's fine.
No need to
Go
worry.
shoot it. You can't even shoot it. They didn't have guns.
Yeah. He was like, that's just the clunky metal thing.
Man, it's insane. So it also employed, like I said, like it's kind of wider at the bottom and then cones up to a point. So it employed like sloped plate armor, which it meant more protection essentially, because if you're shooting at something straight ahead, it's only got to go through, say, 2 inches. If you're shooting at it at a slant, it's got to go through like more because there's more volume there.
Okay.
So it was extra strong, extra deadly because it could shoot in any direction, extra mechanical because these 8 dudes are inside just cranking away at these wheels. And entirely impossible to make.
It was like extra. Like,
yeah. But I mean that's mostly all I have on this. Leonardo da Vinci built a tank, man. Like that's what else do I even need to say? I do have a fun fact regarding this though.
Oh, please.
The tank makes an appearance as a playable vehicle in Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, which I thought was super interesting because Brian plays Assassin's Creed. And I love that like this tank can't be built in real life, but they're like, yeah, we could make it in a video game, sure.
You can make anything in video games.
Yeah.
So,
why not?
So like they never tried to like nobody ever tried to eventually make it?
So at this point in time, people have made like models of it, yes. They don't need to use it in battle though because there are, actual tanks to use.
I know, but like just for like funsies, like
yeah, people have made it just for funsies at this point. And there was some like fatal flaw with it. What had to do with the gears, which is like a little bit too mechanical for me to truly understand. But basically the gears were backwards on the blueprints, which they think that Leonardo da Vinci did on purpose, so that way nobody could like replicate his design.
Well, then why give it to somebody and be like, "Bro, make this."
I don't know,
make this, but I'm gonna tell you a secret. The gears are backwards. But don't tell anybody.
Like reverse the gears, brah.
There's a trick to it. If you can just figure it out, then you can have it.
No wonder nobody could make it, Leo. You made the gears backwards, man.
I know, you dumbass. Stick to your art, man. No need for tanks. No need for that. Like,
poor Leo.
Simmer down.
A genius beyond his time. Too good for that world.
Sure. All right. Well, I mean, I'm glad that we had that lighthearted topic because the next thing that I'm going to tell you...
We're going to need it.
You better gear up with some drinks, girl, because this is so awful and, like, I'm cringing just thinking about it. You're going to cringe real hard. I know it. So, yeah, everybody fucking buckle up because this is bad. Alrighty. I picked... It's called the Iron Spider, a.k.a. the Breast Ripper.
Oh, God, I hate it.
Oh, it's really bad. It's really, really fucking bad. So, it was a torture device that was used on women. And it was mostly used for women who, like, committed adultery or had abortions.
Oh my God.
It was like, so it looks like a pair of tongs.
Okay.
But then there's 2 claws on the end of it.
Okay.
Like 2 little fork-looking things that look like T-Rex fingers.
Okay.
And they basically would take that and they would clamp it down on your boobie and rip it off.
Rip the whole thing off?
Fucking, yeah, clean off. Not clean.
Oh my
off.
God.
Off. Mm-hmm.
Can I get that disclaimer? Because I'm worried.
I warned you that this was going to be a bad time. So, like with anything that's made out of iron, it had a chance that they were going to heat it up. Yeah. And if you thought that was bad, there was a whole other form of it where there was something just called the spider, which was attached to a wall. And it performed the same thing, except it was attached to a wall. So if you tried to move, your tata came off.
Oh my god.
Yeah. It was a bad time.
I've never hated anything as much as I hate this.
Yeah. It was, so the ones that were, like, the spider, which was on the wall, my sources actually are Wikipedia, howstuffworks.com, and medievalty.com? I don't know.
Sure.
And How Stuff Works said that it was, like, the spider itself included spiked bars affixed slightly away from the wall. The victim would have been pulled along the bars until her breasts were ripped off. So, I cringed thinking about it. I cringed when I saw the picture of it. As I said, this was like something that was obviously just reserved for women.
Women who didn't even do things that were that bad.
No, not at all.
I mean, like, but Jesus.
Yeah. So, like with everything, they used it, like, not only as punishment, but, like, to coerce people to tell, like, them information. So, I mean, once again, if you're gonna threaten me with that, I'm gonna tell you anything.
Literally tell you anything.
Yeah, if you, like, whip those things out and you're like, oh yeah, you don't want to tell, I'd be like, oh no, I'm gonna tell you everything. I'll literally give you my life story. I'll give you everybody in the vicinity's life story. I will tell you everything. Do not fucking touch me.
It's the worst thing I've ever heard.
Yeah. So between the iron spider and the regular spider was considered to be more painful. I mean, you're being dragged along a wall, so I would assume so. But a lot of times, as I said, this was heated before it was actually used. So that's awful. And a lot of times you died from it. But it wasn't used, like, very often. They reserved it pretty much for, like, really, really serious, and I say that very lightly, serious, like, crimes.
Like adultery or abortions.
Yeah, you know.
Very, quote unquote serious stuff.
Yeah, in their eyes. Like, if you fucking robbed your neighbor, you weren't gonna get it. But, like,
no, but you have an abortion, and God forbid.
It's like, it's like game over for that. So as I said, it was rarely used, which is nice, but it's also
that's still terrible.
It's still a fucking awful thing.
I can't believe that anybody had to go through that.
Well, like, another thing that I was reading, which I kind of thought was interesting, but also didn't surprise me, was, during that time period, like, women were, like, they got the worst punishments. Like, all of the really, really awful things were reserved for women. And that kind of extended back to, like, Roman times, like, before this was, like, before medieval stuff. I think How Stuff Works said that female victims were given to soldiers to be raped and sent to brothels. They might even be tied up or paraded through the streets naked. These public humiliations were sometimes followed by bizarre sexual mutilations.
Jesus Christ.
Torturers had a strange fixation on breasts, which were burned, branded, or simply amputated.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So that's really, really terrible. And a lot of times, too, they used it to, like, mark unmarried mothers, or, like, to, as I said, to mutilate women convicted of heresy, adultery, and a host of other crimes. Jeez. So, yeah. Bad times all around. And that's all I have on that.
Honestly, thank God. I don't want to listen to much more of that.
That's fair. I mean, as I said, the picture of it is just, like, genuinely horrifying.
which we will be posting to our Instagram within the next couple of days, so keep an eye out for that.
Yeah, or don't if you don't want to see something.
Honestly, maybe not.
No, I'm gonna post it anyway, because like if I had to see it, everyone else has to see it. So that's how I torture people.
It's terrible.
Yeah, it was rough. There, and like the thing about like medieval weapons is that there's so many.
Yeah.
Like they didn't just
the
have like
are a huge time period. They spanned like close to 1,000 years.
I know, but it's still like you would like there was like thousands upon thousands of like weapons and torture devices, and it's just like you couldn't pick like 5 that you were just like cool with.
Yeah, right? Like can we just agree on like a few here?
Like these were so bad. And I can't even imagine having to like live through that time period, and like you breathe the wrong way and they're like, you know what's gonna happen? I'm gonna rip your titty off.
I'd be like, you know what? I'm just gonna go over there and like kill myself real fast. It's fine.
Hi, I'm a boy. You don't need to do that. No.
I'd literally rather die.
Well, you would. You would. I don't like to run, and I've established that in earlier episodes. But you would see me fucking run so fast. I would have invented like teleportation at that point.
Yeah.
Like, you bring those little fucking titty tongs out, and I'm out. Bye.
See ya.
See you later. I'm gone.
These little titty tongs. Help me out, man.
They really missed the opportunity to call them that.
They did. They did.
Ripper, come on, titty tongs. I had another name for them earlier too, and I forgot what it was. But
oh man,
I know. But you know, thank God we don't use them anymore, so we don't need to rename them.
Yeah, thank God.
So yeah, that's all I have on that. What are we reading this week?
I am not reading anything. I just finished A Court of Frost and Starlight pretty recently, which is the novella following A Court of Wings and Roses series. It was just a lot of fluff, which I thoroughly enjoyed.
I know. I like keep telling myself like, hey, you gotta dive back in and read it. I'm just like so not ready for that series to end because like it's my favorite, I think.
But if this is the way the series ended, it's a super satisfying ending. Like you'll finish this book and you'll just be like, okay, this is how it ended. It's okay.
I mean, even if they didn't tell me, like if the novella didn't come out and they told me that like A Court of Wings and I don't remember what the other one is. I have it behind me somewhere. A Court of Wings and Ruin. They told me that was the last one. I would have been satisfied with that.
Yeah.
Too. Like that author, like she ended it perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll have to go in and read it. I'm actually not really reading anything either. But I did think about picking up a book that I started reading and then didn't finish. So last summer I picked up, it's called, I have it over here, Iron, Fire, and Ice. And it's basically it's by Ed West, and it's like the true story of Game of Thrones.
Okay.
Which is like about like a War of the Roses.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I got through the first chapter last summer, and then I got distracted with something else, so then I didn't read it. But I would like to pick it up again because I want to know the story behind that. It's just like very dry because once again, it's like history.
Yeah.
And, like there's a lot of stuff where I'm just like, I don't really care. But I know you have to get through like the boring bits in order to get through to the rest of it. So yeah, I think I'm gonna pick that up again. And once I'm finished with that, then I'll find something new to read. But yeah, that's what I got.
All right, and we'll be back next week with another episode of Drunk in the Library and episode part 2, I guess, of Medieval May. So you guys have that to look forward to. Please, if you have a few minutes to spare, please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, follow, rate, whatever you have to do, on anywhere you find podcasts, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. We're on literally everything at this point. So please just take a minute out of your day to do that if you could for us.
Yeah, guys, seriously, because that helps us improve things and make it so that we're giving you content that you actually give a shit about. Because we don't want to continue doing stuff if you don't care about it. So, like, let us know, like, what things that we can be doing differently. If you have any topics that you'd really like us to discuss. Like, we're pretty set on, like, what we want to talk about for May, but, like, there's a bunch of other months after that. So, you know, let us know that stuff. And, like, as Kayla said, like, you know, liking, subscribing, rating us, like, especially, like, on iTunes or wherever, like, Apple Podcast gets hosted through, which I assume is iTunes. You know, like, let us know, like, that you like us. And that really does help us. And we love you guys for it. So thank you so much for participating in this with us, and continue to get drunk and learn things and tell us about all the fun things that you've learned about while getting drunk with your friends. And that's about it for this week. We'll be back next week. I think we picked medicine, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep, we're going to do medieval medicine next week, so that should be super exciting.
I know. I have not figured out what I want to do yet, but I know you have a good one.
I do.
We'll go through that, and then we'll see you guys next week.
Stay weird and stay drunk, my friends.
And always learn something new.